Alright guys, let's check out this set of speakers, these marine speakers from HYANKA, the HMS-65. Pretty cool. We got RGB. Alright, so let's bust them out. And as they're labeled, true marine. So, before we bust in there, you can see they're IP67 waterproof, salt and fog resistance. With UV protection. These are really well engineered for marine environment. And that saltwater thing is a big deal. The salt on aluminum creates corrosion. Salt on metal creates rust. So we build them out of materials that are not affected by the salt in the air. And that is this heavy plastic. This material is impervious to the salt in the environment. And it is very hard, very rigid, so it works as good as aluminum or steel. It's just not affected by salt. Got a pretty good sized spider in here for a nice throw on this woofer. And this is a polypropylene style cone with a rubber, not foam, but a rubber surround, and a tweeter mounted here in the front. And this grill is not detachable, at least not that I can see, not in any kind of way. This is a permanent structure, so the wiring goes to the tweeter is incorporated into this. And on the back here you can see that we have a 750 watt peak power 7-color LED light with, again, the True Marine logo and the HYANKA logo as well. And down here we have the positive and the negative for the speaker terminals and the RGB light plug. So being as this is a simple red, green, and black RGB cable, you could incorporate this into virtually any RGB setup, and it would be able to take signal from that and run. The only thing you might have to do is change the plug out to work with a different setup. However, this comes with all the necessary equipment for that, and I'll show you. So we got 2 drivers, both with these plugs. Then in the center here in the package, get all the cool stuff. For one, there's a remote in here, RGB, and there is the receiver box in here with a simple red and black power plug. So you just hook this up to the positive and the ground of your system to a switch source, and this will turn on and turn off. Then these 2 guys here, plug into the 2 speakers, and they have quite a bit of wire attached. Well, there's not a little bit, there's, you know, that much, but there's plenty of wire to go to your source. And in this hole you got your speaker wire, 2 nice chunks of, this is definitely copper, definitely got some weight to it, of wire with soldered, 10 soldered ends on it already. That's kind of cool. But yeah, this is definitely copper wire. High quality stuff, feels real nice. So how does it look when you fire it up? Questions. We have questions. Alright guys, we have got this sucker hooked up to one of my drill batteries. And just so you know, this is a 20 volt battery, so the system can obviously handle higher than 12 volts. Let's turn off the light up here, and we'll leave this main light on for now, and we'll go through some of these, and I'll turn it off here in a minute and give you guys a super dark. So what do we have here? Okay, here's our remote, and it comes with a little tab in there to keep the battery from connecting. So when you pull that out, we should get power. So you could hook this up to an always on and control the power with the remote. That's cool. Then you got color settings. So there's red, green, blue, yellow, a light blue, and a violet, which is almost pink, but it looks pretty cool. Then there's white, of course. So then you got modes. There's mode 1, and I'm not sure what mode 2 is, but it's dark. Mode 3, 4 is doing some kind of pulse, looks like. Let that run for a second. Yeah, it's a breathing. There's mode 5, does the whole spinning effect. Mode 6 is seizure inducing. What is mode 2 though? Mode 2 says music impulse. Mode 1 is music beat. So we need music for that to work. Music M2. Yeah, there we go. So it works off of the impact of the sound. So it'll flash when the sound hits. M1, yeah, it goes off when the beat hits. Okay, so there you go. M3 is solid. M4 is fade. M5 is streaming. And M6 is strobe. So if we go to M4 fade, for example, and then select red, it will fade and breathe red, and so forth and so on. So whatever you've got this set on, it's going to work with the color that you have selected. Let's get it a little darker. There we go. Now that we got that thing spinning, there's no brightness selection on here, by the way. We'll tip one of these up so you guys can see where the lights are located. They're actually located underneath here around the spider, and they shine up to the cone. So if you had these, well, that wouldn't really work, but if you had them mounted in acrylic to where the back was visible as well as the front, it would be quite a light show from both sides, as you can see. So that's pretty cool. And since these are smart RGBs, again, you could hook these up to another system that you've already got, probably incorporate them into your smart RGB setup, and run them as part of your normal sequence. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's discuss the other components involved in these speakers, because after all, they are not just light show, they are speakers. And we'll grab the manual here and do a little bit of information searching. Now, HYANKA is a kind of a mixed bag, as is most of your prominent brands out there right now. They have everything from really economy cheap stuff up to some pretty high-end stuff. This is actually a really nice setup. So it comes with 2 marine speakers, 1 kit, 1 light, 1 connection, 1 operator's manual. I was looking for some information here on the speakers themselves. So sensitivity is 95 dB. Got a 1.2 inch voice coil, a 4 ohm impedance each one, with a frequency response of 50 to 200 kilohertz. Yes, that is 200 kilohertz. That's pretty crazy. So I'm looking for 2 16 volt test, 12 hours. Such as pink dry noise. Guess that's what that is. Okay. 500 volt nominal, maximum of 800 or 500 watts RMS, 800 watts max. The basket is plastic, 6.5 inch white. Okay, we already figured that much out. The cone is polypropylene, 6.5 inch. It's got a 77.4 FS, and the surround is rubber. Okay, I was right about that. Damper. It's got a QMS of 5.5 and a QES of 0.68, the QTS of 0.611. So these will definitely play in an infinite baffle situation. I would say they're probably going to produce lows quite well in an infinite baffle. So if you put these in a large enclosure or a door or something like that, you're going to get some pretty good lows out of them with that QTS. And it's got a Y35 ferrite magnet, 4 millimeters of overhang, 5 millimeter. This book is very inclusive as far as specs go. There's a lot of information in here, as well as a chart showing the plot. And that's a pretty flat curve right there. If that's accurate, and so far, from what I've seen, it should be. That's a pretty flat response curve. I would hope that would be the case, because that's nice. If you guys are looking for a good waterproof speaker for a motorcycle, I would say these would do a good job. For a boat, obviously. And if you're concerned about salt water, well, you don't have to worry about that when you have a plastic frame. The salt isn't going to bother it. So here's to some pretty good stuff from HYANKA. I'll have the description down below. There'll be a link to order these guys. If you guys want to pick some up, I think you'll be impressed. I still got to hook them up and get some sound out of them, but that's coming up in the next video. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys if you're thinking about getting some waterproof drivers, especially if you're in a saltwater environment. I'd say these are an excellent choice.